Hi, my name is not important, but last time I introduced a term or a concept of ruach, dusha, soul, Seele, Ruh, or in Mandarin, which is a spiritual concept, and therefore it might be difficult to grasp with a materialistic mind, and it needs some further explanation. I told that it is the innermost human, and this is not my wisdom. I just looked it up in a dictionary. Okay, but now I would like to proceed with a small introduction in order to make this phenomenon visible. And to make it visible, we need to get aware of one of our senses. This is just an example. It's the hearing. The hearing, what is it nowadays described? It's the vibration of the air going to the shell of the ear, then going to the membrane, hence in the internal ear, and from the membrane we have again vibration, which might be the first translation. Then it goes to the smallest bones in our body, and again they're hammering on each other, and now we have a mechanical translation, and this mechanical translation is going to the cochlea, which is like a snail filled with liquid and some hairs inside, and there we have vibration in liquid, and this gets later on translated to the nerve, which goes then to the brain, and then we hear something. Then we hear harmonies, then we hear Beethoven or great music. And how is this possible when this process is translated about 6 times or 7 times nearly? Isn't that strange? Well, that's part of phenomenology, and this is something which is concerned in philosophy, but also cognitive in psychology. And psychology should be the science derived its term from psyche, a Greek term for soul again, but it's not concerned with soul nowadays. It's concerned with, now materialistic society, with the brain. But some people also say the mind. Here we get maybe more spiritual process or a new phenomenon which cannot be explained. And again, when we go to the life sciences, which is my field, because I'm educated human biologist, the life sciences are concerned with questions of life. And life itself is still not understood. We only can get life from life. We can very well describe the processes of life, the metabolism, or the division of the blastocyst and the forming of the ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm. So we are very aware of the processes, but the phenomenon itself, why a cell divides like this, we can even see the molecular pathways, but they are still not known why the cell does what it does. Where does it receives its information? And there's the promise of science that we only take time, and we will get deeper into this, and we will go deeper. Take a look how deep we got in physics. We even got to the boundary of the materialistic life itself. So physics is concerned with irreducible forces like gravity. Yeah, gravity is a concept which derived from the outside. If you take the legend of Newton, he was sitting under a tree. So goes the legend, and apple fallen to his head, and then he thought, what's the force of that takes the apple down to the earth? There must be something behind it. And the outward form, the apple, falling down is the phenomenon, but the driving force behind it, and still invisible to us and not understood, is gravity, fundamental force in physics. And Newton, maybe some people of you know that Newton was an alchemist, and his library of occult books was maybe even bigger than the library of natural sciences. So he was deeply concerned inside himself with questions about the outer world. But I would say he didn't took the outer world, the pure phenomenons, as the most important. It's just the outward part to describe a hidden phenomenon. Now, if you see in the back, there are people interested in the statue of Hermes. They take pictures, as we do nowadays, and hopefully they ask themselves, what is behind this? Why is this here? What is this symbol for? And the symbol, there's an author which I read a lot, and he said that the whole world and everything, phenomenon in this world, is a mere symbol of something behind it. Yeah? And Newton took just this. The gravity was the power beyond the apple, but the apple made it manifest that there is a power. Or in the word of Schwaller de Lubritz, well, he called it the sacred, but we don't need to call it necessarily this way. He said the sacred is necessarily beyond space and time. It can only be the function considered as a power in itself, beyond the object that manifests it. And in our Newton example, the apple was the object and the function is gravity. And further on he goes, quote, "Thus the form, the definition, the specification, that is the symbol of the function. It evokes it, it makes it tangible to us. So we need tangible objects to grasp intangible things, right? Or I shouldn't call it thing. Go on with the quote, and thus the function, so the gravity, which we only know through evocation, is sacred." Again, Schwaller de Lubritz. Yeah, what I wanted to say is that scientifically, we only understand the kinetic energy. The kinetic energy is, in the words of again Schwaller de Lubritz, not the vital energy, because the vital energy is at the base. It is not at the end of things. It is not the same energy as the kinetic energy. And yeah. But the thing is, we take a lot of this for a lot of things which we claim to know for granted, yeah, right? So there might be a paradigm shift in the future, and we just have a poor paradigm now, but it's not internally living within us. We didn't digest it. We didn't took it as truth because we don't find it in ourselves. But Newton tried to find the reality inside himself, but based on the outside phenomenons, he tried to take proof on this. And now we lead on to the current situation in society. Although we had the Enlightenment in Europe, which told the people that they should be their own light. No one should be your guardian. No one should be an authority. Don't trust blindly the authorities. Try to find it for yourself. And I think this is a very simple truth to which we should stick. We shouldn't be prone and blindly follow the authority. We should respect and take into account the responsibility of every human, that we should find it by our own. And when we find something, of course, we should share it in order to discuss it and use it and mirror it, whether to see that if there's some truth. So, and by finding the truth, of course, we will make mistakes. We will be wrong in some way. And therefore, we need correction from outside as well. But if we make mistakes, we shouldn't blame anyone. We shouldn't shame anyone. We shouldn't shitstorm anyone. We should simply correct our failure and proceed. Or to put it with the words of a very famous Sufi, Shams Trabizi, he said, "We are each an unfinished work of art, both waiting and striving to be completed." So we should try not to see the shame, but we should be the one who correct it. But if you take an honest view into the world right now, you're facing much propaganda, much advertisement, and much deep indoctrination, which need to become aware in the individual before we can get rid of it. There's a lot of cultural balance, of course, and there's the famous quote that man is born free and then set in chains. But I don't know whether our times, we have so many ideologies, so many isms right now, right? Materialism, communism, capitalism, feminism, ism. All these isms are simply, well, you can easily become if you follow a doctrine and you get hard, right? You defend the doctrine and the teachers and the bringers of the doctrine, and then you will be further and further away from yourself, because again you take an outside concept and ism into yourself and you make it one with yourself and you weaken yourself. And this is nothing which I have in mind. I'm trying to, I'm trying to give hints that the inside of the human being is much more important than the outside, the outside world, which is constantly changing. There's also a difference. If you take a look inside yourself, you will experience always the present moment and you won't experience time. But from the outer side, you age, you get gray, you lose your teeth, or like in my case, they get yellow. And so you change from the outside. Inside, well, there's a different reality. But again, we are one human, the outside and the inside. And but referring to the inside, there's a famous quote from Jesus or Isa. He said, "Why do you only wash the cup from the outside and not from the inside?" Or again, to quote Shams Trabizi, "The real dirt is not on the outside, but is the grudge and the bigotry on the heart." And again, from a famous Sufi, a quote, I think it's from Al-Kabir, he said, "The human heart is like an ocean, deep and wide, and the tongue is like the shore, and we find traces of what is in the ocean on the shore." Again, referring to the innermost human. So, and referring again to the inner human, this is where we come to something which is which interacts with the outside world, which is influenced by the outer world, but which the inner of the human maybe should be dissected a little bit more. And I'm happily doing this in another video. I just wanted to refer that there's something beyond this outer world, or let's say it with the words of Paracelsus, the world is double. Maybe there is a vital function behind all those outer phenomena. Obviously there's Plato's tale about the people who were inside a cave and who took the shadows for the real world, and one went outside and told about the outer world and no one believed him, and ended terribly for him. Yeah, I just would like to say, please keep an open mind about these things. We still do not know what human really is, or what capabilities we have. I happily refer to this in other videos too. But for now, yeah, I would like to close. I hope you can digest what I've said, and yeah, I wish you a calm and peaceful mind, and yeah, if you have the chance to take a walk outside in the nature, the human body is here to move, and I hope you are all well and take a walk outside in the nature someday. Bye bye.